everyone, and welcome back to the Talk by Elevation. My name is Michaela Nagel, and I'm one of your co-hosts. And for the first time for this episode, we have our other co-host, Addison Perry, joining us. We have a very special guest with us today, Rachel Sanford, who is the head girls lacrosse coach at Evergreen High School. And she has a multitude of success under her belt. But first, I want to talk about Nico Stones. They just dropped their fall collection, and leather bracelets are next level. Clean lines, real materials, and the perfect mix of rugged and refined. Hit up nicostones.com and elevate your everyday style. Thanks so much for joining us, Rachel.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, and Addison, do you want to kick it off?
Let's do it. Okay, Rachel, let's kind of start at the beginning. So what drew you to cross in the beginning?
So lacrosse was actually a sport that my grandmother played.
Oh.
And when I grew up in Connecticut, you had to wait to be about in fourth grade to start. And I remember being a third grader, and my mom was like, I'll call and see if we can get you in there. We couldn't.
Oh, darn.
So I started in fourth grade.
Okay, amazing. And then you played it up until college, correct?
Yeah, I played in high school. I grew up in Greenwich, Connecticut. Then I played at Duke. In my kind of post-collegiate years, I played a little bit in a women's league in Arizona and a little bit in the women's league out here in Denver. And I've been coaching high school for the past 6 years, but kind of coaching on and off since I was about 16.
Amazing. Super
That's
cool.
crazy.
Is there any stand-ups that you had in your college days playing lacrosse?
Oh, yeah. I'm actually going back to Duke this fall for a 30th anniversary party since the start of the program. And so playing in college, we went to 3 Final Fours, never won the ship, but close enough to know how good that would be. But my college friends are like my best friends still to this day. And so getting an opportunity to go back to our college stomping grounds is like a real upcoming thrill. But yeah, that was a huge part of my lacrosse career was kind of our college 4 years.
That's awesome. How did those high-level experiences kind of shape your approach to coaching today?
Yeah, so I said this recently, and I've never really coached a player that was like myself. And so I think in learning that is like, it introduces you to how different humans are, how many types of athletes you'll engage with, but it also puts it in perspective that you're not coaching you, right? You're coaching other people. And so I think that's part of the joy of coaching is getting to know different athletes and what motivates them, what drives them crazy, how you kind of get them to do it on the field.
Yeah, that's really interesting that you said you didn't coach anyone like you, because you think like people that play sports are very similar in that aspect, same headspace and everything. So I know you mentioned a little bit what keeps you motivated, like these girls do, but you've coached all different levels. So why have you kept going? What's kept you motivated through all these years?
Yeah, so in our little town of Evergreen, to be the high school lacrosse coach really feels like a good amount of community, getting to know their parents, getting to know their athletes. We have a restaurant in town, and so I'm like, oh, I know that person could run food for us on a weekend. I know they're not working on a Saturday. And so it's really worked for our lifestyle. Coaching high school really fills some of that competitive need of you don't get to go out there and compete, but your team is kind of performing based on, how well you've trained them, the game plan you've put in. So it's really fulfilling in a competitive way. And then my favorite thing about coaching high school sports is when my athletes come back to town and they're like, hey, coach, let's have coffee, or I want to see you, or what's going on? We're going to stop by the restaurant. Like, that is just pure gold.
Yeah. Well, your team obviously knows how to compete. You guys won state and have 2 state championships now under your belt. So what does it take to win at that level?
Well, first of all, it takes tremendous athletes. Yeah. Athletes that play lacrosse year round, that commit to what we're doing in Evergreen. Is special, right? Like they can, you have athletes that are going on to play at the next level. It's easy for them to look past, right? Like I'm getting ready for college, or this is one part of my high school athletic experience, but we've been lucky enough to have kids that engage with what we're doing and commit to it and really have driven the culture. And that's just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Just not only keeping those kids at a level of competing, but how do you really get them to love the game they're playing? Is that kind of a personal aspect you have, and how do you help them as a coach?
Yeah. I love lacrosse. And now with Instagram, Like you can see lacrosse on TV, you can see it on Instagram, you can learn so much from it in a very passive way that, you know, if a viral lacrosse clip happens, I'll be like, who saw this? I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool. And like maybe half the team is like, yeah, I saw it, coach. Like, yeah, pretty cool. But a few players would be like, that was so cool, right? Can you imagine? One of my side passions is training youth officials. And so I get a lot of our high school players to give back to the game, to learn to officiate. And so that's an interesting way for them to interact with lacrosse. And so that's been fun when kids go off to college or they're like, coach, I'm still reffing. I'm like, oh, yes, we need you. That's been really special. And so I think passion's infectious, right? So if they see it in me and they have some of it, you can kind of really cultivate that.
That's super cool. I'm an intramural sports coach at my school too now, so I get the whole officiating aspect. Do you think that helps your athletes kind of see a different side of the game?
Absolutely. You know, reffing is thankless, and it's also really hard, but you get an intimate understanding of the rules, which is invaluable. And you really learn how a whistle kind of puts everything in check.
Oh, yeah.
And so you're in charge, right? Doesn't matter if you're 15 or you're 40.
You're the boss.
You're the boss. And so getting them confident, making calls and being decisive. And you can really see, you know, those who stick with it, you can see their growth over a few years. And that's amazing. It's a life skill, right? To be able to like command a group of people.
For sure.
That's going to be super rewarding, especially like you said, having those athletes come back to the town and get to visit. And do you guys have any different like alumni like practices? Do you do it?
So we haven't done that yet. But now we're coming to the point where when I was in high school, we had like an alumni soccer game around Thanksgiving. And I'm like, we might have enough alumni and locals to be able to do something.
That'd be awesome.
So I'd love to put that into place.
For sure. For sure. All right. So you've said that sports offer more than just competition, that they provide opportunities for personal growth, connection, seeing athletes, peers like that. Can you kind of share an example of a philosophy like that you have with your team that you share?
Yeah, so one kind of minor thing that I don't know when I learned it, but it was just when you walk up to the field, you kind of line up your bags, right? And it doesn't matter if they're matching bags or not, but it looks orderly, the sideline. And it's something I'm always kind of chirping about, like, hey, let's make it look a little better than when we got here. And there was a practice this past spring where I walked out and it was like, wow. Look at the sideline. I like say to the assistant coaches, like,
you're like a proud mom. You're like,
this happened, like without us prompting. And so like that feels so subtle, but it also feels like so big, right? Like they understand I care about this and they should care about it. And there's purpose in the small details. And so if you can focus on those things, the bigger picture gets easier to kind of conceptualize. And so that's like one way that you're like, you know, and like kids will forget a jersey or cleats or I'm playing in Converse. And so you kind of have to be like, oh, okay. But our sideline was good, right? Like we were lined up. And so sometimes the small details can just make you feel like, yeah, you are being impactful.
Absolutely.
It's like those life lessons that are away from the sport that you also get. It's a win-win battle, right?
Absolutely.
That's amazing. So what are some of the biggest life lessons that you've learned or taught throughout lacrosse?
I think communication is just one of them. You know, for my athletes to be able to like call me or text me like, hey, I'm not going to play fall ball because I'm doing volleyball, but I want to come when I can. Great level of communication. I reached out to my college coach like, hey, this is going on in my life. I'd love to show it, right? And so having these long-term relationships with an athlete to coach is so powerful, but you need to cultivate it, right? You need to put time and energy in. And that's kind of what life is about, right? If you have friendships, if you have partnerships and you can kind of give and take, and there's gonna be times where you're putting more into it, but at the end of the day, like your teammates, your friends, your coaches, like they all want what's best for you. And I've seen that kind of on both sides.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, super fun question. I've been dying to know the answer for this one. What is the rain delay game that you created?
Okay, so when I first started coaching high school up in Evergreen, we would get these like crazy snowstorms. As you'd start practice and they'd be like,
downpour,
rain delay, snow, go into the gym. And they don't allow us to use real lacrosse balls in the gym. And so we'd use tennis balls or like fake balls, but you can only be so productive. And so my friend Liz, who coaches softball at Grandview, we went to business school together. And so we've always kind of talked about our coaching stuff throughout the years. And we were like, there's something here. And so the first beta of the game I came up with, I printed on PowerPoint and I made like everybody play, like my mom and brother, Liz and her friends and some other people I'd met. I'm like, do you want to try this game? That's great. And then finally, we got a more legit version. And so the game as it is right now has 52 cards. Half of them are chat cards, which gets the team kind of talking, and half are challenge cards, which gets the player who picks a card to lead a challenge. And so a challenge could be you're leading blind farm and you give everybody either they're a cow, a chicken, a duck, or a dog. They close their eyes, you yell cock-a-doodle-doo, and these animals have to find each other with their eyes hilarious. And so it's fun, it's light, but it also gets people engaging without their phones. And so every team I've done it with, really enjoys it, really engages with the content. And so over the years, we've tweaked it and made it better. And now the product is something I'm so proud of. And I love giving it out, but it's something we sell on our Etsy store. And we love when people or coaches are like, it was exactly what I needed when we played it. And that happens more than not.
Yeah.
That's great. Do you have a pretty big age range for that, or is it kind of more centralized towards?
So we kind of cater our stuff to high school, but it absolutely works for a middle school group and a college group. A couple of the tournaments I've been to with the coaches, the other day I'm like, do you want to play the game? And they're like, yeah, sure, this is great. So, if you have willing participants, it can be just as amazing as you want it to be.
That's awesome. I got to give me one of those.
Yeah.
Yes. I know you and Liz, you've talked about this game a lot. Can you also mention too the journals that you guys have?
Yeah, absolutely.
About those.
So one of the things we noticed from coaching high school was so many athletes, come in as a freshman. They're like, I want to play in college, I think. And so then they kind of wait for somebody to tell them either they can or they can't. And so the athlete journal is 99 guided prompts that it allows an athlete to do at their own pace. And I say to somebody you want to play in college? Do the journal. If you're not willing to do the journal, you might not want to play, right? And so it's not it's a time aspect that it takes X amount of hours, but it really shows discipline. It shows putting your mental game first. Mm-hmm. And so, my athletes who have done it, I think they really resonate with it because it's personal, right? Nobody's looking over your shoulder. Write it or don't write it, you're going to get something out of it. So then after years of giving my coach friends the athlete journal, I was like, oh, we need a coach's journal, right? And so we talked about reffing being a little bit thankless. Sometimes with coaching, for me, it's oh, I don't want to do this. And I get there and I'm like, that was awesome, right? So
it's worth it.
Yeah, you need those people that can kind of pick you up. And so the coach's journal allows you to get down to the basics. Why am I doing this? What am I getting out of it? And then from there, we've come up with more products, and it's fun to have an off-the-shelf offering for the athlete who wants it.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah.
No, it's really cool to see the cards and the journals and everything. How have you seen it kind of grow as you guys go into it? How many years have you had this so far now?
The problem is we've had it for a long time.
Actually,
but our energy. Liz coaches softball, which is a fall sport. I coach lacrosse, it's a spring sport.
Yeah, opposite.
So we have points of high productivity in the off season for both of us. And so I'd say I've been talking to Liz for 10 years, but probably the Rain Delay Etsy store has been open for 2.
Okay. So everyone go buy Rain Delay.
Yeah.
Yes. So you've been inducted into the Connecticut Lacrosse Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
Big honor. Looking at the bigger picture in women's lacrosse in general, where do you see it heading in 5 to 10 years?
Well, what's really exciting is lacrosse is going to be in the 28 Olympics in LA. Unfortunately, I think they're only having 6 or 8 teams play in that.
Okay.
but in getting ready for the Olympics. Yeah,
it's all the fires.
And it's a different version of lacrosse than what we're playing now. So it's a game called sixes. And so the rules are a little bit different. So teams kind of all around the world, they're more likely to put 8-10 players on a team versus 15 or 20. One of my high school athletes from our 21 team is currently the goalie for Team Canada. So there's a chance that an athlete I coached might be on the Olympic team.
That's huge.
And so that'll be really exciting for the sport to kind of see that on such an elevated stage. I think out here in Colorado, we're still kind of considered like a up and coming state for lacrosse. And so I just reffed a 5th grade game the other day and was really impressed with the stick skills on these 5th graders. But then you look at the coaches and it's like 2 women who both played in college. And so as the coaching gets better across the board at younger age groups, I think our potential for lacrosse in Colorado is going to get better and better.
Absolutely.
And that's fun to be a part of that.
Yeah. Is that a big switch when you moved here from Connecticut?
Yeah, lacrosse in Connecticut is definitely like a hotbed type area. And now out here, kids start even younger. But just people have been playing it for generations and generations back east.
Yeah, absolutely. Because a lot of high schools, they don't even have lacrosse teams.
Yeah.
It's all recreational and
Yeah, it's growing. It's not where it needs to be, but it's definitely...
It'll get there.
It'll get there. It's going. Just keeping that momentum going, do you think there's more of an interest in investments in women's sports in general? And how do we keep that going, especially at the youth level?
Yeah. So last week, my husband, kids, and I went to the girls' flag football game at Evergreen High School. It was a doubleheader. The cheerleaders were out there. The mascot was out there. And you're like, this just wasn't happening.
That was not big
before.
That's like the last, 2-3 years?
Yeah. So flag football is a new sport. And so like right there, like that excites me for the future. And I don't even like really love the sport of flag football, but I'm happy there's an opportunity for people to play it. And so I think one thing that's cool in our small town is it seems like there's youth programs for every sport that you could be interested in. We have girls playing rugby. We have girls that are wrestling. And so when I was a kid, those sports weren't offered.
Right.
So it's nice to see the growth in just like the variety of sports that are out there.
Yeah, for sure. What is your hope for young girls entering sports today?
Yeah, just keep playing.
Yeah.
I have a 3.5-year-old who's starting lacrosse on Sunday. And I hope that her journey in lacrosse or any sport is just like it's taking her as long as she wants to be in it. And so I think teammates will be your best friends. You'll have some hard coaches. You'll have coaches you really love. But at the end of the day, like it's for you, right?
Yeah.
So get out there, compete, be healthy. Like, I hope you love lacrosse, but at the end of the day, if you love softball or volleyball or something, like, just love a sport.
Yeah, love a sport. Absolutely.
It's huge. And those athletes, that turns into kind of what Foundation Nation's all about, the media aspect of it.
Yeah.
As someone who played both played and coached in high school and high levels, how do you see the media training playing a role in these modern sports?
Yeah, I would love to have clips from me from high school, from college that are like readily accessible. The media piece is like you are your brand. So if you can talk about who you are and what you care about and use your pedestal for good, that's going to help all of us. And so I think that's really exciting when you look to the female athletes that are like putting themselves out there in a way that's not just like TikTok dances, which are great too. But I think there's opportunity for them to be a mouthpiece, to talk about what's going well, the hardship, talk about the mental health aspect on athletes. And that's so powerful.
That's huge. With social media, the press interviews, NIL deals becoming more common. How can we better prepare athletes to manage their public image in like a healthy way?
I think communication skills are so valuable to teach an athlete, like how to talk to the camera, how to interact, how to sell yourself, just the poise you need to be able to speak confidently. And if you're speaking confidently, it's coming from somewhere, right? So you're probably confident. And so sports probably helps you on that path. And so interacting with different coaches, setting goals, achieving them, failing, right? Learning from the failures. All that is going to give an athlete perspective that younger people can benefit from.
Have you had this conversation with your athletes personally?
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. Like, actually, I don't know if this should be on there, but during our state championship run, one of the opponents we were playing, their high school barstool put out kind of a mean TikTok about two of my star players. And my gut reaction was like, do not retaliate online. Like, we are classy, we are above this, but fuel it, right? That should not use this, right? And we showed up when it mattered in that championship.
Yeah, there you go.
And so, yeah, just know that those messages that you put out there last forever. And so being prepared for the consequences.
Yeah. How long do you kind of see this media training lasting in this aspect and becoming more of a training thing, like a part of an everyday life of an athlete?
Ooh, I think those that want it, it's there for it. And so there's kids that are monetizing their Instagrams in high school. There's kids that are in college doing more than the average athlete. And so who do you want to be?
Right. What sets you apart?
Yeah, what sets you apart? And so having good social media is kind of part of the whole package.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah. Do you just think this is just going kind of in the gender roles now? Do you think there's a double standard on women kind of being careful what they say on camera because it gets taken more to account than what men might say about the sport or about an opponent or about all these things and how that might affect their social media presence or what the public eye might want to see?
Yeah, unfortunately, those standards exist, and to say that's not there is just ridiculous, right? I think there was a clip of news people asking tennis players, well, look at your outfit. Who are you wearing today? Who's your boyfriend? To female tennis players. And then they'd ask it to a male tennis player. They'd be like, what? That's never part of the conversation.
Right. That's not a thing.
And so, yeah, we need to engage with our females so they know, what's out there. Male athletes need it too, but the messaging's probably a little different.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hopefully that changes.
Yeah, it gets better.
I think it'll come with a confidence thing. One person does it and then it'll be that domino effect. Absolutely. It's boom, boom, boom. And then everyone will be up and ready to roll.
Yeah. How many years did it take for the women's soccer national team to get equal pay?
Yeah.
They had it. Yeah. But it took
a long time.
Yeah, too long.
Yeah. You've already accomplished so much personally and professionally. You got your game, you got your journals, coaching.
Yeah.
All these things. Do you see anything happening next for you? Do you have something planned, or are you just kind of going with the flow?
We have really young kids, so we also have a restaurant. So trying to kind of find ways to keep being able to coach high school is kind of at the forefront. I'm at the point with club where it's some stuff has to go, some stuff can kind of keep going. And so coaching really feeds my soul. And so to be able to keep doing it is really important to me. But making sure my husband and kids are all taken care of while I'm doing that.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, it seems like you really love coaching. So.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. If there's one thing you could change about the current youth sports landscape, what would it be?
Why? We need rec sports. We need rec sports at every level. Kids need to be able to pick up a lacrosse stick in high school and middle school and have a place to play. Club is trying to kill rec sports in a lot of different environments. And as a high school coach, I need club athletes, but high school sports is kind of a combination of rec and club. And so finding the way where athletes can play a lot of different sports and maybe choose their primary sport a little bit later. But I want, our high school's great. Girls as freshmen are trying flag football, trying volleyball, trying cross country, hopefully trying lacrosse. I think by the time we get to the spring, they're like, I'm good with trying a new sport. Okay.
So that's enough.
But they need that opportunity.
Yeah.
Do you think that these younger athletes feel that pressure to choose that sport? I know it's new and coming. I mean, when I was younger, it was a little more chill. I was a 4-sport athlete, went through all that. But now it's you hit middle school and it's all right, you got to focus in. You got to be on this club team. You got to do this if you want to go anywhere.
Yeah, and I think kids are intimidated when, 90% of the team plays club.
Right.
They're like, oh, I'm not going to be any good. And you're like
you got to
put in your mind that you have to do both. Like, you have to be on club and school and can't, you won't get there if you're not on both.
Yeah, and it's good to be coached by different people, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're in one club with one philosophy, to have a high school coach teaching you a new sport, like, what a gift.
Yeah.
Right? And if they don't appreciate that, that's a problem, right? We need them to appreciate that.
Yeah.
True. What advice would you give to like a young coach, like just starting out, who has dreams to lead like you are?
I think parents can be a huge advocate, or they can be a huge pain. And so finding a way to like set boundaries, right? I think that's easier to do when you're a little bit older. It's just like, that's not what my cell phone's for. Thank you so much. I want to hear from your athlete. I don't want to talk to you about playing time or whatever it is. And also it's like teaching people, like, you're human. We're going to make mistakes, right? Like,
Absolutely.
I don't need people coaching from the sideline, especially parents. I need their players to come to me to talk about stuff. And so I think when you're young, you can get kind of caught up in like, am I doing a job? Is this like, nobody says whatever. And you're like, what do you care about? What are you teaching? Why are you out here? And if you can kind of, that can be like your North Star, you'll be just fine.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, last question. What do you want every player to walk away with after a season under your leadership? Not just as athletes, but as people too.
Ooh.
It's a hard one.
Yeah. I hope we have a lot of fun, because sports are fun. It's a release. It's competitive. You should learn new skills. But if you're not having fun, it's hard to do all those other things. And then at the end of the day, I hope these athletes know I care, right? I'm taking time away from my day to be with them. And so talk to me, like, let me know what's going on. Let me help, let me in. Because if we work together, we can do so much more, like win championships.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, hopefully there's another one coming your way.
I hope so. It's always the goal.
Yes. Well, thanks so much, Rachel, for joining us.
Yeah.
This has been The Talk at Elevation. Addison and myself, we'll see you next time. Brought to you by Fan Day Nation.